Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where in today's episode, we're going to be diving in to the voices that Rey hears in the Rise of Skywalker, specifically Ahsoka, and whether or not she is still alive. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee.
I have spoken.
Hello there to all of the returning subscribers, but if you're new to the channel and you're just finding Star Wars Coffee for the first time, be sure to always hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. And don't forget to check out Star Wars Coffee on Twitter and Twitch, and don't forget to check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise. Links are in the description below.
Do it!
And now let's go to a galaxy far, far away.
This is the way.
The Rise of Skywalker gave us something that fans have been asking for, which was, in a sense, we've been asking for Anakin in the sequel trilogy, and we finally got it, even though it was just a voice cameo by Hayden Christensen. Despite that, there are still some fans who are going to be unhappy about that we didn't actually get to see all of these Force ghosts. Nevertheless, all of those characters we had requested were in there, and so it is a win for me. However, one character that a lot of fans probably didn't recognize if they don't watch the Clone Wars or Rebels was Ahsoka Tano. And Ahsoka is a massive fan favorite, especially in the Clone Wars and Rebels and all of these animated series. And the Clone Wars actually comes back tomorrow, so we'll get to see more of Ahsoka tomorrow. But Dave Filoni had some things to say about Ahsoka and whether or not she was alive in the Rise of Skywalker. And we have this article to take a look at today that comes from Gizmodo that's talking about what Dave Filoni said. So let's check that out. Here's what Dave Filoni had to say about Ahsoka Tano's voice in The Rise of Skywalker, written by Germain Lucier. Just because Rey heard Ahsoka Tano's voice mixed with a bunch of Jedi from the past in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker doesn't necessarily mean she's dead. That's the implication the character's co-creator Dave Filoni gave IO9 when we spoke to him this week. To recap, right before Rey defeats Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker, she reaches out with the Force and hears the voices of several Jedi. She hears Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mace Windu, Luminara Unduli, Yoda, and Qui-Gon Jinn, to name a few, all of whom are dead. She also hears Ahsoka Tano, a character who, as far as we know, never became an actual Jedi, and whose fate has yet to be revealed in a Star Wars story. Many fans believed her inclusion was proof that the former apprentice of Anakin Skywalker was now dead. I think a lot of fans would disagree with this, saying that she was never a Jedi. She's clearly a Jedi. She's a Padawan, which is still a form of a Jedi. She's just not given the name Jedi Knight, which is not a Jedi, it's a Jedi Knight, so it's just a different rank in Jedi Order. So I'm going to say that a lot of fans are going to have issue with that. That's what the article says, not officially a Jedi. I'm going to say she's a Jedi. Alright, moving on. I have to wonder with Star Wars fans, Filoni said. They seem to watch the movies, but they don't take all the lessons. They deal a lot in absolute, which is very much a Sith thing. I remember in The Empire Strikes Back, Luke speaking out through the Force to Leia. Vader also does this at the end of The Empire Strikes Back. There's no absoluteness that these people are dead. I mean, some of them we know are dead. All of them, actually, all except Ahsoka. Thankfully, Filoni still has more Ahsoka stories to tell, the latest which will unfold in Star Wars The Clone Wars when it returns on Disney Plus starting this Friday. From there, eventually most fans expect he'll continue her story picking up after Star Wars Rebels as well, where she and Sabine go off in search for Ezra Bridger. Filoni wouldn't confirm that's happening, but he did talk about the Rise of Skywalker moment in terms of what I'm doing with the character. It doesn't really have any big implications to what I'm doing with the character, to be honest, he said of the moment of the film. I just thought it was a really fun thing. I thought JJ's instinct to be so inclusive with all these various elements of Star Wars and characters was great. And I thought it would be a great thing for the actors involved to be part of something that was just really this celebrating moment of the Star Wars saga. So I didn't think of it in a literal story way. The film, to me, it's like a different area. He admitted to being surprised by the fan reaction and said the reaction made him think even more seriously about its implications. Previously, he commented on it with this image below, which I talked about before, where people always saying she thought she was dead, and it's essentially mocking that, which gives us the impression that she's still alive. Alright, I always take from fan reactions that, wow, they really care about this character, Filoni said. They want to know the ins and outs of everything, and so I take it with a real grain of salt and respect because, well, we've got to figure all these things out and how it works. And it is interesting that the voice is there. What does that mean? Of course, Filoni wouldn't say exactly what it means, but he did again hint at what he's doing more with the character. "It didn't really affect what I'm doing, especially since I'm before it," he said, which could mean hypothetically Ahsoka and Sabine's story during the sequel trilogy, but more likely means Ahsoka's story during the Clone Wars. So when we get to that point after the Rise of Skywalker, or if we'd ever reach that point again, I don't know. I'm in this other timeline. I'm in a couple right now. I just honestly love the people ask about the character. To take it from where we did in 2008 to now is pretty exciting. It is, and we'll see the first pieces of it when Filoni brings back Star Wars The Clone Wars starting Friday on Disney+. We'll have more from our interview with Filoni in the coming days. Alright, so there is going to be more scoop on this, because Gizmodo just says they're going to keep revealing stuff about what Dave Filoni said. But what's interesting is he didn't say no, Ahsoka's dead at this point. So it's just saying that he's not planning on discontinuing the character anytime soon with any of the work that he's currently doing. If Ahsoka really was dead, he would have just said, no, at this point in the story, Ahsoka's dead. He didn't do that. So clearly Ahsoka is still alive, and whether or not she's still alive at the point in the Rise of Skywalker is a different thing, because in his version of where he is, what he meant by the two timelines is the Rise of Skywalker and the sequel trilogy, and then his timeline currently with the Clone Wars and with Rebels and all of that isn't at that point in the timeline of all of these events happening yet. So it's currently undecided if Ahsoka's actually dead. But he does bring up that good point of Vader and Luke and Leia communicating in Empire without them being dead. So it is very possible that Ahsoka still very well could be alive, and depending on where Filoni continues to take this character, I just don't think it's an answer we're actually going to get to see until Dave wraps up her story and or gets to that point in the timeline. But what do you guys think? Do you think Ahsoka's alive? What are you thinking of what Dave says? Let's have a conversation about that in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. May God bless you and the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.